first off, thank you guys for coming out. Day one of spring ball, as you can tell, it's a lot of excitement in the air. Not only you can hear it from the fields, but just from my voice as well. It's the opportunity to come out and compete and see what we're all about. It's just day one. I know you guys are going to ask about certain individuals that stepped up. It's too early to tell. The biggest thing I wanted to see out there was enthusiasm, great effort, and just continue to try to master day one install and start working and harping on the fundamentals. Obviously, a lot of film to watch from today. A lot of bodies out there for spring football, but quite pleased with what happened so far, and a lot of work to build on, and a lot of fun moving in the right direction. Look, we're out there just in helmets. Got one more helmets practice, and then I'll be excited for the padded practice on Saturday. But can't wait to watch this film, and look, I just enjoy being back around the guys. It means so much to start this 2024 season off the right way in spring football, and to actually go out there and sling it around a little bit.
And you obviously had your share of spring ball. Does the approach change depending on the team and how you approach this?
Yeah, I think year in, year out, you want to be consistent as a head coach, but you also can't sit there and say this is the way I've always done it. How do you learn? How do you improve? And then based off the team you have, if you got some vets, right? We have a veteran quarterback. We know who our quarterback is going in this one. It's kind of refreshing not to walk up to the podium and say, okay, tell us about the quarterback competition. We can talk about the guys behind Seth, but we know we have our quarterback. We got some veterans there, running back. We're experiencing some new stuff with defense, but what's been such a joy is this team, even in this offseason, has allowed us to coach them hard. And that's not saying that we haven't been able to do that in the past. And you guys heard me reflect on that a little bit last year when I told you guys how much I enjoyed last year's team. Well, this is a different team, right? With 40% new faces, not only on the field with players, but coaches as well. But I think this is a team that's willing to accept coaching, a team that's willing to say, okay, what can we do to be better? And that coach mentality, from the strength and conditioning to carry it out to the field today, that's a joy. And their eyes are big. You guys have heard me talk about the eyes of this team, and they're dialed in and bought into the way we're doing things. And so we're able to go out there and demand excellence. We're able to coach them and harp on those fundamentals and keep pushing those things in the right direction.
Hey, Coach, is the spring the time you can identify guys that be special, integral parts in the special team because you have such much time to just develop them and see what they can do?
Absolutely, Terry. I think that's one of those things. We don't go out there and we don't do a ton of just true team stuff in special teams. We do a lot of individual skill work, so we see what set of skills they have they can incorporate over to, hey, maybe this guy would be really good on kickoff. Hey, this guy does a nice job of transitioning. He'll be really good on the punt return unit. And so we try to find that unique set of skills by the drills that we do throughout spring. And you're exactly right. We start to build it, right? We'll start off with a bank. Okay, here are these 75 guys that we think can help us on special teams this year. Well, today I probably eliminated 3 of them already. So, maybe I made a mistake. No, hopefully not, right? But you see those skill sets. But that's the kind of the unique thing and fun thing that we're able to do. And part of that in spring is not just, hey, let's get really good at the X's and O's and see what skill sets we have that we can apply. People forget, we're kind of going to harp even though we have a veteran quarterback, we've got a lot of veteran players, is, okay, let's get really good at the fundamentals because we can have all the scheme we want if we don't get that. And then you guys forget, we still have what are quote-unquote OTAs in the summer, and then we still got an infinite number of training camp practices that we're allowed to do. So we're taking it one day at a time. But yeah, you're exactly right. Spring ball is a great time to kind of see who can help us on special teams.
One of the things changing this year in college football potentially is helmet. How are you approaching that in spring practice? Are you going to use that? I know it hasn't officially cleared yet, but it's expected.
Yeah, we have not been cleared in our conference to be able to use the helmet communication. As they call it, C2P is what they're referring to it, coach to player. And, with the relationship, I believe, with Coach Com that's going to be into the, I believe, right now helmets. But, we're exploring it, we're seeing it, obviously having the experience in the NFL, I think that will kind of give me a kind of an idea of what we can do. We know sign stealing, signal stealing is part of college football, so we have to be smart on offense. Okay, how are we going to incorporate it in order to get the play in? Does that mean we may huddle a little bit more, maybe do some different things of a variety, signal some, wristband some? I think we're going to incorporate, we certainly will, as soon as they allow us to do it and it gets cleared and there's a waiver where it's safe to put our quarterbacks in it, we certainly will. And then we got to figure out on defense, okay, is it a Mike linebacker that's going to wear it? Is it a safety? And I think, Jonah, there's still some questions that have to be answered because my concern is this. If we decide to put our Mike linebackers on this, right, and our number 2 and our number 3 Mike linebacker start on kickoff, they can't be on the field at the same time. So where do you do it? What do you do? How many guys do you have in it? And they're still not sure how many on the sideline can have it. Are you allowed 2 or 3? So as we clarify those rules, it's something we'll certainly take advantage of. I've called around to some of these NFL teams to say, hey, is there anything unique or different that you're doing? And we'll be advantageous with it, but we're also not going to really change what we do dramatically. We've had some success here, but we're going to use it to our benefit, and we'll see. But as soon, I'm excited, right? It'll be like a new toy out there. I'm sure, some of those, Seth and whoever, if it's Chandler, will be tired of me talking in their ear. They're waiting for that 15-second cutoff. Like, come on. But you also got to be careful because you can't give them too much information. Hey, what's a play call? Maybe a key to something, maybe a reminder, but. We'll see. We haven't had the opportunity to use it. We've discussed if it continues to get pushed and delayed, still be able to practicing it maybe with a walkie-talkie and another device and try to figure that out.
Is it hopefully that clearance will happen during spring practices? Or?
Yeah, we do believe that it's going to happen really soon. We've had conversations with the conference, and we feel, again, the biggest thing I think is the safety issue. I think the piece of equipment's there. It's like, hey, until we get it, we don't want to put something in a player's helmet until it gets fully approved and signed off on. And as soon as that, I think they're shipping them out. So it may be as soon as tomorrow, it may be next week, but we do feel comfortable like this is something that will occur at some point during spring practice. And I'm excited to, relay the information back to you guys, how I think it's working, things that we can continue to do.
Coach, I know it's just day one, but what did you see from Mario Anderson today, and how excited are you to have him on the team?
Yeah, look, first off, what a group of running backs we have. I think, a few years ago when you guys asked, I said, yeah, we got a bunch of guys. I think we got a bunch of really good players in that running back room, which is great. Obviously Mario is a young man that came to us with a lot of production from South Carolina. You watch his film, you say, man, this guy can go. But, the fun thing is you look in that room, a guy like Sutton Smith, just so electric, so dynamic, and we got high expectations for him this year. Brandon Thomas, I think found his niche in his role in special teams and being a short yardage goal line back, and he's come out today and did tremendous stuff. Jay Ducker, right? People forget Jay Ducker was very productive for us. So one time 1,000-yard rusher in college football. So you look there and you see, wow, they got some guys back there that can go. But I was pleased with Mario, pleased with all those guys. And that's going to be a fun room to watch. I don't sit there and say the cupboard's bare there. And they're out there competing, having fun, making each other better. And obviously a new running back coach. So I think he's just as green. I think some of those guys, even Mario, who's maybe been here maybe just a month longer than the new running back coach, they're kind of out there coaching each other. And it's good to see him. I can't wait to watch that room continue to develop.
Right, when you've got some new guys on your coaching staff, how important is this spring just to get a feel for how they coach and practice and all that?
Yeah, it is unique. We have 3 new full-time coaches. Obviously, grad assistants and QCs change over, and obviously, certain of them aren't allowed to coach on the field. But the 3 full-time coaches, with Lou, Reggie, and Lee, it's fun. Because sometimes I just want to go pop in their meeting and hear them coach. I'd not heard Lee coach other than when I interviewed him. So I was excited to go see how he coaches, how he teaches. And then same with Lou and Reggie, right? 2 guys I've coached and I had a chance to at least hear before and sit in on meetings with them. But it's fun because they all have unique styles. We're not a bunch of cookie cutter coaches. I want them to coach their own way, but they've also bought in to our philosophy and our culture. And I believe our position coaches, along with our strength staff, are the number 1 guys that push culture in our program. Now, they push it to their players, and their players push it amongst themselves. And I think it's been fun to kind of watch their unique spin on things, and our philosophies, and the players buying into it. And high expectations for all of our coaching staff, and quite excited to watch those guys go out there and work.
Any unique team building activity you got planned for the spring, other than the normal practice stuff, Mike?
I was just so excited. Like I didn't, as per usual, I didn't sleep last night because I was like, man, here we go, spring football. I was so antsy. I didn't want to go home last night, but someone had to feed the dogs, and it just so much excitement just to get out here. I've got some ideas for team building stuff. One of the things I told you I think we did in the past is we drafted a bunch of teams to do competition stuff, and at the end of practice, you guys didn't see it, we actually shot jugs, and you had to weigh over 280 pounds to compete in it, and you had to be part of certain teams. So we had certain guys of a certain weight and go out there and try to catch the ball off the jugs machine. But they're all part of teams, and so it's unique because that's a way to build camaraderie and competition. I'm sure later on we will take them to bowling or do something fun, and spend as much time as we can. It's so unique. As practice is done, you look around, and you guys can even hear it in the background. Guys are hanging out and spend time with each other, and that's what you want. You want guys that want to eat dinner and spend time in the locker room together. And I think we got a special team, a lot of new faces, so we got to continue to work on that. And that's my job, is to find ways to continue to make us bond.
Another question on college football as a whole, the early signing day situation. What do you make of that?
Yeah, obviously there's been some dialogue. It's interesting. Now this is year 26 coaching football, so I feel like I owe it to this profession to be able to be a little bit more involved. And when you first, I don't think of myself as an old coach, but experience-wise, I've been around the block a little bit. And year 5 as a head coach, it's probably on the higher end of coaching experience. Especially the way the cycle works for college head coaches. And so I tried to be involved, like when we did our head coaches meeting in Nashville. When we do our conference coaches, I always try to speak my opinion, study things, and try to be educated on it. With that early signing, there's merit to doing it earlier in December, because then you can just then focus, okay, where our high school student athletes we're signing, okay? They're here, okay, now we can then focus on our current roster, right, the transfer portal and other young men. But what it does then, it puts a lot of onus on us to get recruits here in the spring. Because if the only time you're going to be able to do really official visits is spring and summer, and we don't like to do them during the season, especially if they're signing early December, so we've really got to make up legwork in getting as many guys as we can for spring ball. I am in favor of some sort of early signing day. Our conference, amongst many, the head coaches agreed that an early December one makes the most sense, because then we can make sure we sign guys. And I think it actually will help high school young men, because then they kind of know where they stand. Because if it's all the way to December 20th, a lot of these guys are getting left because, oh wait, I can get this portal guy, I can get that portal guy. And as we know, right, hopefully you're preparing for a bowl game, right? You're preparing for signing day. You're recruiting your own guys on your roster. You're going out and looking at transfers. There's even dialogue of maybe even being dead period in December, which would be quite unique. But I think most of the head coaches in college football prefer early December. The summer one's a little tricky to me. And you're seeing some of these high school coaches associations come out and say, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense, because they worry about a young man say, okay, I signed with school X in July 1st. You know what? I'm just going to hold out because I start school, in a while, or my hamstrings a little bother me. Maybe I'm not going to play my senior year. And that's certainly what we don't want. We want guys to be able to play a full season of high school, even if they're early grads, to be able to do it, because we want guys that compete at the highest level. So I'm not personally as a favor of a summer signing period, but I'm just one voice. But I think right now, moving forward, they may just stick with the early December and punt the summer one and come back until we get better dialogue. Plus, we got to see what's going on with the recruiting calendar. Are the transfer windows going to change? Who the heck knows as this thing continues to move forward.
Is that something where, like, when you talked about at the beginning, being more involved, being more vocal about that stuff, is that just talking about it, or is that like calling people up and saying, hey, this is just what I think, or the conference, other coaches, things like that?
Yeah, most head coaches or whatever it is, 130 Division I's have egos and like to hear themselves speak. Well, look, I have an ego, but I don't like to hear myself speak that much. But when we're amongst each other, I think if I have an educated opinion on something, it's okay to share. Here's the reasoning why. And if you get 50% of the head coaches are in there, maybe, oh, I never thought about it that way. Or sharing dialogue with coaches in our own conference. Okay, hey guys, what do you think about this? Let's be a unified unit as a conference, so we're all on the same page. And so if 10 of our coaches agree, then maybe that's what we'll go with. And look, there's things that occur that are out of our control, as we know. We've also woken up as coaches some days and say, whoa, I had no idea that was occurring. We just don't want surprises, I think, more than anything. I think we all like to be as prepared as we can. But anything we can do to make this game better, I'm all in favor. And I think I owe it to college football to be involved if it makes sense, and assist where I can if I think I can help.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate y'all.